What's up, NBA fans? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew: Shy, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right. Everyone who's tuning in, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel. Help make the show the best that it can be. And look, let's not waste time. There's no time to waste. Ivica Zubac, man. Ivica Zubac. And before I break him down, I just want to mention to Laker Nation, I'm a part of Laker Nation. I love the Los Angeles Lakers. That's been my squad darn near forever. And I just want to say this. I just want to share this. Because we never seen this before in the history of professional basketball. Because of one guy, presence on the team, this team, the Lakers were led to let go, trade away, siphon off, however you want to put it, 5 players who can average 20 points per game or more. 5. And that refers to all of the young original core members who were drafted between 2014 and 2018 by this franchise over a 4-year span. Ingram, Randall, Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Clarkson, Ivica Zubac. Ingram and Randle showed that they can average 25 points a game. Ingram averaged 27 points a game in his first playoff experience back in 2022 versus number 1 seed Phoenix Suns. And he had 4 straight 30-point games in that playoff series versus them. 4 straight. They didn't have an answer for him. Randall, 25 points a game, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Second team all NBA honors, right? Kuzma goes to Washington. He averages 22 points a game two years straight. Jordan Clarkson won 6th Man of the Year, scoring 20 points a game. And now we got Ivica Zubac. Heck, even Lonzo Ball, his last month and a half playing for the New Orleans Pelicans, was averaging 20 points a game, getting 7 rebounds, 7 assists. After correcting that jump shot. And now we have Ivica Zubac. And I've been saying for years, since he was traded, that the Los Angeles Lakers, they didn't give up their future center. They gave up their center for the future. Meaning, you develop him over his first 4 years because he was drafted. It's not like, take Shaquille O'Neal, for example. Shaquille O'Neal played 3 years of college ball. He entered the pros. He was like 21 years old, which should be ideal anyway. Zubac was 18. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 22 years old. David Robinson was 23 because he had to fulfill a 2-year commitment with the Navy because he played college basketball at the Naval Academy. Patrick Ewing played all 4 years. He was 22 years old. Zubac was 18. 18. So if you develop him right, don't bring the hurricane to the franchise whose specialty is forcing you to give up all your own players and draft picks galore for him to stack the deck. And even the player who they mortgaged the future to get 6 years ago in Anthony Davis, now he gone to bring in a top 3 player. He's never won anything without being in position and being allowed to stack the deck. He has not carried a non-super team to a championship. In all his years in the NBA, he's never done it. So here goes Zubac, man. This is just a real quick breakdown. Like I've been saying, Look at what this man has done in this past week. He go up against the Dallas Mavericks, goes up against Anthony Davis, who he outplayed early in the season when the Lakers, they were shocked that Zubac can play like that. Then they was on this rampage. We need to get a big man. We need to get a center. We need to get a center. And they tried to trade for one by trading away one of their own players, Dalton Knecht, who was the steal of the draft. Now he's not even part of the rotation right now. And he was in position to challenge for Rookie of the Year. That's how bad he's been devalued since being traded and being brought back to the team. So the reason why they had to trade for a center, because they know they didn't have a legitimate starting center. So the player who they had playing that position, Jackson Hayes, he's showing you over this past week that he's not a starting center. When you have to match up, against the Nikola Jokic's, against the Alperen Sengun's, players like that, centers like that. So here we go. Zubac this week outplayed Anthony Davis. I think that's the game where he had 24 points and 15 rebounds? And he had about 4 assists, 5 assists. Yeah. He had 25 points, 10 rebounds. He was perfect from the field. He was 11 for 11 from the field. He hit all his free throws, and he didn't commit one turnover. First player in NBA history to accomplish that feat, scoring 25 points, 10 rebounds. You follow that up with a performance where he had, 24 points and 20 rebounds. 24 points and 20 rebounds. And then last night, he gives you a triple-double. And that shows what happens when you develop a player and you show belief and trust that they can perform at the highest level. This right here is more rewarding than trying to. Don't get me wrong. Free agency is appropriate when needed. Really, to me, free agency really should be about role players or high energy like reserve people coming off the bench, or like a designated shooter, something like that. It really wasn't designed for superstars. Free agency. It really wasn't designed for that. It's really designed. Free agency, when you look back on it, when it came into existence, Kurt Flood, who was a baseball player for the St. Louis Cardinals, he felt that he was outperforming his contract. And he was like, okay, well, if you're not going to pay me according to my worth, I should be allowed to go elsewhere to a team that's willing to do that. And he fought for that right. And, to this date, now we see athletes benefit from that right and that struggle that he started back in the 60s. But it wasn't used to stack the deck. It was really used to, free agency was about maximizing your earnings according to your value and performance as a player. And now it's been all bent out of shape. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's what free agency really should be for. But this guy, Ivica Zubac, Big Zoo, he's showing you this who he could have been all along if the Clippers would have showed belief in him. The problem was when the Clippers acquired him from the Lakers, he was already devalued. So they was going off of what was being said about him, that he was basically no good. The only thing he can do, maybe rim protect, catch a lob here and there, set screens up top. But look at what he's turned into. As the backup, as the starting center for this franchise. He's going to lead the league in total rebounds. He has the best defensive rating this year among any other center in the NBA. So he's giving you the rebounds. He's giving you the defensive presence where you really don't score in the paint against him. Right? And now he's giving you the scoring. He's scoring at such a high clip, high efficiency. He really don't need a whole bunch of shots, but he should be the second scorer for the Clippers consistently throughout. And I'm telling you, to see this, man, as a fan of the Lakers, man, this is why I've been fighting for this young core. This is why I've been fighting for these young men to show their value, to show appreciation for their talent. Because the reason why they was let go, it had nothing to do with them. It had nothing to do with them. When they brought the Hurricane to the team, when the Hurricane was brought to the team, their association with this franchise was done. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, they only supposed to have been part of the team in year one. They was trying to form the super team for this dude in year one. Only reason that they remain on the team is because the original plan didn't work. And then plan B was Anthony Davis. And look at what has happened to AD. He's an afterthought. He was an MVP caliber player. He'll never win the MVP. He'll never get it. He's 32 years old now. You got younger stars as look at what Jokic just dominated MVP. Embiid got one. And more than likely to me it should be Sage Alexander this year. But the talent that the Lakers had, the way they was being built, the whole is greater than some of this part, where it wasn't necessarily being about, well, I'm the man. It'd have been revolutionary. They went 10 deep. I'll say 9 deep. The final piece to the puzzle, instead of relying on multiple superstars, all they needed to complement the last piece of the puzzle was one prime star player. So they was building from within, not from without. The LBJ, the Hurricanes formula is from without. Bringing in ready-made superstars. That's not real team building. See, do you notice since the super team era started, because you can trace when the super team era started, the moment where winning became devalued, that's the moment where you can trace the super team era started. Winning became devalued in the summer 2010 when we saw the Hurricane, Wade, and Bosh join forces. So when you got you got two top 5 players and a top 10 player join forces in their prime out the same draft class in the same conference, well, you're going to run the table. That's why they said not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. They knew they was going to run the table. So at that point, the regular season, the emphasis on the regular season and seeding became devalued because it really wasn't going to matter. If you finished top 3 instead of the number 1 seed, well, you knew you had such overwhelmed top tier talent, it wasn't going to matter come playoff time. So everything became devalued. And then when you lose, the player that all this was set up for, well, he will get a pass. And then the people who support this nonsense say, well, he didn't have enough help. The coaching wasn't there. The front office didn't do their job. This has been the constant talk for 15 years. So what happens is losing actually gets celebrated. Winning becomes devalued. And I'm telling you, if the Lakers had stayed the course, man, they would have been so amazed by what they had unfolding right before their eyes with their young core. 5 players from that period, 2014, 2018, have proven they can score over 20 points or more. That's unprecedented for a draft class of players when you starting over as a franchise. There's not another one. I've already checked. From the Spurs, the Tim Duncan years, even OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder, they have amazing young talent around Sage, but not to the degree collectively that the Lakers drafted from 2014, 2018. I can promise you that. And like I said, man, I'm so happy for Zubac because I always believed in him. This is not me jumping on the bandwagon all of a sudden noticing that he's balling. No, I've been believing because I was saying this about him when he was wearing a Laker uniform, doing his rookie year, watching his workout video when he first got drafted. I've been saying this for years. So what he's doing now, man, he would have been doing 4 years ago. when he was 23, 24 years old. Ingram would be playing better as a Laker. Randall would be playing better as a Laker because their pride would have been there. We Lakers, we want to lead this team back to prominence. That was taken away. That was taken away. Hart, like I said, they all excel at certain aspects of the game. Mid-range. Brandon Ingram was the best mid-range shooting basketball for any player in the league age 30 or younger. Randall, the first player since Larry Bird, averaged 24, 10, and 6 while shooting 80% for the free throw line and 40% from three. I can go on and on and on. Alonzo Ball was becoming the best 3-and-D point guard, probably the first 3-and-D point guard in league history. You see what I'm saying? Kuz, as a six-man, he is a six-man with a superstar mentality in the clutch. That's why the Wizards went to him at the end of games, even over his own superstar player, Bradley Beal. There's a reason why. So you put all that together, man, then you got your Alex Caruso's, your G League affiliate player who's a defensive specialist. That's why Oklahoma City brought him in for that purpose. And I can get Jordan Clarkson. That's your six-man. They ain't had a better six-man since Jordan Clarkson was traded. There hasn't been a better six-man since that the Lakers have had to play that role. You want to know why? Because he won six-man a year. They all met their projections. But Big Zoo, when you got a big man who can play like this, man, I'm telling you, the Clippers, if they really feature him in the playoffs, they going to be a nightmare to deal with. They're going to be a nightmare to deal with. Because what he's showing this week is he going to act a fool come playoff time. That's what he going to show. That's what he's showing right now. He going to act a fool come playoff time. And I'm just happy to see it. As a Laker fan, man, I'm proud of all these young men and what they've done, man. Because they've been so overlooked, seem expendable, but they was the best young core that I've ever seen in the one and done era, and they showing it. They showing it. Zubac is playing like the second best center in the world right now since the All-Star break, leading the league, all players in double doubles. He's showing you the entire repertoire, and he got more to go. He lead the league in double-double since the All-Star break. He's going to lead the league in total rebounds. He has the best defensive rating of any center in the NBA, and now he's giving you the 20 points and showed that, man, he can pass the ball now, and he can give you a triple-double. But we sitting here raising the roof over a backup at best that's playing the center spot for the Lakers. That's how much we sold ourselves short. Over these past 6 years, that's what that trade of Zubac is showing. How much the Lakers sold themselves short because they had all the talent in the world. All they had to do was let it develop and don't bring the Hurricane to the team. Don't bring the Hurricane to the team. They brought him to the team. They traded everybody away to get AD, Anthony Davis. Now Anthony Davis is gone. He was sacrificing this process too to bring in Luka Doncic, whose heart was ripped out by being traded from his own team to help that dude win. So kudos to Big Z, and please leave your comments and thoughts. As they say, until next time, this is JB. This is BTB. This is Behind the Bench.